Picture this. You're not trying to live like a celebrity. You're not trying to flex online. You just want a normal life with a few nice things once in a while. A meal out, a trip that feels like a break, a car that doesn't make weird noises, a home that feels safe. And yet, more and more people are looking at their bank account and thinking, when did basic comfort start feeling like luxury? That's what we're talking about today. Let's begin with number 15, which is the simple night out that used to be easy. Think about going to a movie, grabbing a snack, maybe parking nearby, and calling it a fun, normal evening. That used to feel like a small luxury you could plan without doing math. Now it's one of those situations where the total cost feels like it's hiding from you until the very end. You don't just pay for the ticket, you get hit with online convenience charges if you book ahead. You get premium formats pushed at you like the regular version is somehow the bad version. You walk in, and the snack menu looks like it's designed to make you feel guilty for even looking. And there's a bigger point here. The whole system has moved from pay once to pay in layers. Each layer seems small when you say it out loud, but together they can turn a basic plan into a mini splurge. The sneaky part is how normal it feels. The choices are framed like upgrades, not like extra costs you didn't agree to. It's reserved seating, premium sound, easy checkout, support the staff, make it a combo. The result is that the cheap version feels inconvenient or disappointing on purpose, so you feel nudged to spend more just to get back to the experience you thought you were buying in the first place. If you want to keep this kind of outing without the regret, the trick isn't willpower, it's boundaries. Pick the outing, pick the limit, and decide the extras before you're standing at the counter hungry and bored. That one move saves more money than any guilt ever will. Number 14 is live events, like concerts, big games, and shows. These used to be a classic middle-class treat. Not every weekend, but once in a while. Now they often feel like a luxury reserved for people who either have a lot of disposable cash or don't mind going into future me will deal with it mode. One reason is that ticket prices don't behave like normal prices anymore. They move. They shift based on demand, timing, and what the system thinks you might be willing to pay. Then come the fees. You don't see the full cost at the start. You see it at the end, after you've pictured yourself going, after you've picked your seats, after you've already emotionally committed. That's not an accident. It's a checkout design choice. Another reason is resale. Resale can be helpful, but it can also turn tickets into a weird mini-market where scarcity and hype do a lot of the pricing work. Even when there are rules meant to protect buyers, it's still stressful. You can end up with tickets that have restrictions, delays, or transfer rules that are hard to understand if you're not constantly online following the latest changes. And then you get there and you realize the spending didn't stop at the ticket. Parking, food, drinks, merch. And now more places are pushing cashless payments and fast screens that ask for tips in situations that didn't used to involve tipping. I'm not saying don't tip. I'm saying the social pressure gets baked into the process, and it changes what the night costs. The quiet truth is that live events are becoming a premium product, not a casual treat. If you still want them, you have to play it like a strategy. Choose smaller venues, pick off-peak dates, set a hard total budget, and treat fees and parking as part of the ticket, not extra. Otherwise, you end up confused about how something simple got so expensive. Number 13 is eating out, and not even fancy dining. Just normal dining out without feeling like you're being drained by 1,000 cuts. People love to argue about this one because someone will always say, just cook at home. Sure, cooking at home matters. But the bigger point is that eating out used to be a reliable middle-class pleasure. Now it often feels like a test. First, menu prices have moved up, and portion sizes don't always match that move. Then there are add-ons that used to be included. Sauces, extra sides, small upgrades that don't feel optional if you want the meal to be satisfying. Then come the service charges, the kitchen fees, the automatic gratuities for certain group sizes, and the tipping prompts that appear even when you're ordering at a counter. Again, the goal isn't to blame workers. The goal is to notice how the system changed. A lot of businesses shifted costs onto customers in new ways, and they did it through just a small add-on language. It's not framed as, we raised prices. It's framed as, we're supporting staff, or we're improving service. Sometimes those reasons are real. Sometimes it's just a way to increase revenue without changing the menu board as much. And then there's delivery. Delivery can turn a normal meal into a totally different bill because of delivery charges, service fees, small order fees, and higher menu prices for delivery compared to pickup. That's all real. It's not a conspiracy. It's just the cost structure of convenience plus the business model of the middleman. The way out isn't never eating out. It's being honest about what eating out is now. It's not a cheap break. It's entertainment. It's a treat. When you name it that way, you can plan for it, and you stop feeling like you're failing because a casual habit became an expensive hobby. Number 12 is the always new lifestyle in electronics. The yearly phone upgrade, the newest watch, the newest earbuds, the newest tablet, the newest anything. For a long time, the middle class could treat this as a manageable luxury. Maybe you didn't buy every year, but you knew you could get a nice device and feel good about it. Now, the cost isn't just the device, it's the whole ecosystem around it. Monthly financing, protection plans, repair costs that can be surprisingly high. Accessories that feel required because the device doesn't come with what it used to come with. Storage upgrades that push you into a higher tier. Cloud subscriptions. And then there's the subtle pressure that makes older devices feel worse than they are. Batteries wear down, apps get heavier, and newer software is built for newer hardware. Even when your device is fine, it can start feeling slow at the exact moment the upgrade ads get loud. Another thing that makes this feel less affordable is the way payments are packaged. A monthly payment looks small compared to a big upfront cost, so it feels easier to say yes. But monthly payments stack. 2 payments become 5. 5 become 10. And then you look up and realize a lot of your income is already spoken for before you even buy groceries. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The new luxury isn't the newest device. The new luxury is owning your stuff and being able to keep it without being forced into a new payment. If you want to stay comfortable without the upgrade treadmill, focus on durability and repairability. Use a case. Replace a battery when it makes sense. Ignore the "you deserve new" message until your current device truly isn't meeting your needs. That is not being cheap. That is being free. Number 11 is the new car that feels safe and nice without feeling reckless. A new car has always been a bigger purchase, but it used to be a predictable one for a lot of middle-class households. Now it can feel like a trap built out of monthly payments, dealer add-ons, and rising insurance costs. Even before you get to the car itself, the buying process has changed. There's more paperwork, more product pitches, and more ways for costs to sneak in without sounding like costs. Extended warranties, paint protection, fabric protection, security packages, extra services bundled into the loan to make them feel smaller. Then, there's financing. When interest rates rise, the same car can cost a lot more over time. That's not a moral issue, that's math. But the emotional side is that you walk in thinking you're shopping for a car, and you walk out realizing you were really shopping for a monthly payment. And dealers know this. That's why the conversation often starts with, "What payment can you afford?" instead of, "What's the total cost?" When you focus on payment only, it's easy to stretch the loan longer to make the payment look reasonable, even if it makes the total cost much higher. After you buy, the costs keep coming. Insurance can jump, especially for newer cars with expensive sensors and parts. Repairs can be pricier because more things are integrated and harder to replace. And a lot of features now live behind apps and subscriptions, which means you can pay again for what you assumed you owned. So what's the modern middle-class move here? It's not never buy a new car. It's buy with your eyes open. Negotiate total cost, not just payment. Say no to add-ons you don't understand. Compare insurance before you commit. And remember this, a car that is paid off is a bigger luxury than a car that impresses strangers. Number 10 is the family vacation that actually feels relaxing. Not a stressful scramble, not sleeping badly and coming home more tired, a real break. This one hurts because vacations are supposed to be the thing that reminds you life is more than work and bills. But travel has become a maze of extra charges and price swings. Flights can be cheaper one day and higher the next, and it's not always clear why. Then come baggage rules that can turn packing normally into a cost. Seat selection can cost extra even if you're not trying to sit in the front. Basic tickets can come with restrictions that feel like punishment for trying to save money. Hotels can add resort fees, parking fees, and other charges that don't show up in the big headline price. Rentals can come with insurance pushes and extra costs for things you assumed were standard. And once you arrive, everything is priced like you're on vacation, which sounds funny until you realize it means you pay more for the same food and the same basic services. Even the small stuff adds up. Bottled water at tourist spots, convenience stores near attractions, premium access, timed entry tickets, photo packages, small upgrades that turn into a pile. The bigger reason vacations feel less affordable is that the middle class now has less margin. When your normal monthly costs are already high, a vacation isn't just extra money. It's money you have to pull from somewhere else, and that makes it feel risky. The good news is, you can still travel without being tricked by the system. The key is to stop thinking like a tourist and start thinking like a planner. Build in buffer for fees. Choose fewer paid experiences and more free ones. Pick locations where the basics don't punish you. Travel off-peak if you can. And most important, define what a good vacation actually means for you. If the goal is rest and connection, you don't have to buy the most expensive version of travel to get it. Sometimes the best vacation is closer, simpler, and shorter, as long as it's truly protected from work and stress. Number 9 is a home that feels stable, not a mansion, just a home in a decent area with a reasonable commute where you're not constantly worried about safety, schools, or surprise costs. For a long time, the middle class treated home ownership as the big goal, the big step, the big "we made it." Now it can feel like the goalpost moved. Home prices went up in many places, and interest rates change what a monthly payment looks like. Property taxes can rise, insurance can rise, and in some areas it's harder to even get coverage. Maintenance costs didn't stay the same either. Materials and labor can be expensive, and repairs don't wait until it's convenient. On top of that, the buying process can be discouraging. Competitive offers, tight timelines, inspections and appraisals and paperwork that make people feel like they're racing against other buyers and against the clock. The result is that a home stops feeling like a stable foundation and starts feeling like a huge gamble. And even for people who already own, the luxury part is keeping the home without constant anxiety. A big part of the middle-class squeeze is that housing isn't just one cost. It's many costs bundled together. Mortgage or rent, taxes, insurance, utilities, repairs, and the stuff you need to maintain a normal life in that location. So when people say, just move somewhere cheaper, they often ignore the real trade-offs: jobs, family, childcare, medical care, time, and support systems. Housing is not just a number, it's a whole life. If you're trying to make smart moves here, focus on stability over status. Smaller can be better. Fewer surprises can be better. A longer commute might cost more in time and stress than it saves in money. And a home that fits your life is a bigger flex than a home that impresses strangers online. Number 8 is childcare and kids' activities that feel normal, not elite. This one is touchy because it shouldn't even be called luxury. But the way it's priced makes it feel like luxury. Childcare can cost so much that it forces big career decisions. And even after childcare, there's the world of enrichment. Sports leagues, music lessons, tutoring, camps, after-school programs, school fundraisers that feel non-stop. You're not trying to create a superstar. You're trying to give your kid a fair shot and a happy life, but the costs stack fast. And what makes it worse is the social pressure. Parents compare, even when they don't mean to. Kids ask for what their friends do. Schools and teams sometimes assume families can keep up, and when you can't, it can feel like your kid is the one paying the price. Another piece people miss is time. Even affordable activities can be expensive if they require constant driving, special gear, travel, or weekend commitments that disrupt work. The luxury here isn't just paying for the program, it's having the time, flexibility, and energy to make it happen. So how do you deal with this without feeling guilty all the time? You get honest about what matters. Kids need love, attention, stability, and a chance to explore. They don't need the most expensive version of everything. Look for community programs, school clubs, library events, local parks, and skill swaps where parents help each other. Choose 1 or 2 meaningful activities instead of a packed schedule. And teach kids something powerful. A good life isn't built from constant consumption. It's built from skills, relationships, and confidence. Number 7 is healthcare that doesn't feel like financial danger. Many middle-class people are insured and still feel one bad health situation away from chaos. That's a brutal feeling. And it's not just about the cost of care, it's about uncertainty. You don't always know what something will cost until after it happens. You can do what you think is the right thing and still get bills you didn't expect. You can face confusing paperwork, denied claims, prior approvals, and rules that feel designed to wear you down. Even basic things can add up. Co-pays, prescriptions, specialist visits, tests. And then there's time, which is a cost people don't talk about enough. Time spent on the phone, time spent driving, time spent waiting, time spent arguing with systems that don't speak normal human language. The luxury here is peace of mind. It's being able to get care without doing mental gymnastics about money. It's being able to follow your doctor's advice without turning it into a budget crisis. There are practical things that help, even if they don't solve the whole problem. Ask for estimates. Ask what's necessary now versus later. Request generic options when appropriate. Check whether a provider is considered in-network before you schedule when you can. Keep records. Yes, it's annoying, but paperwork is power. And if you can, build a small health buffer into your budget. Not because you expect disaster, but because you deserve to handle life without panic. The bigger truth is this. When a system makes normal people afraid of getting care, something is off. You're not weak for feeling stressed by it. You're reacting to a real situation. Number 6 is college that doesn't leave you stuck for years. Higher education can still be worth it. It can still change lives. But the cost and the financing have made it feel like a luxury gamble. Tuition is one part, but not the only part. There are fees, books, housing, food, transportation, and the fact that many students can't work enough hours to cover everything without harming their studies. Families also face hard choices about how much to help and how much to borrow, and those choices can shape a young adult's entire financial future. Another hard truth is that college is often marketed like a product. The glossy version is sold as an experience, and the costs of that experience can be enormous. But what most people actually need is the value, a good education and a path into stable work. That value can come in different forms: community college for a start, public universities, scholarships, living at home when possible, working part-time with clear boundaries, picking programs with strong outcomes and practical skills. And yes, considering alternatives when they make sense: trades, apprenticeships, certifications, and employer training. The middle class used to treat college as the step up. Now it can feel like the debt trap, and that fear makes people freeze. The better approach is clear-eyed planning. Don't let pride pick the school. Let the plan pick the school. Ask what the degree leads to. Ask what the likely path looks like. And remember, the goal isn't to win a prestige contest. The goal is to build a life you can actually afford. Number 5 is retirement that feels simple. A lot of middle-class people grew up seeing retirement as the finish line. Work hard, save, and eventually you get to rest. Now, retirement planning can feel like a second job. Pensions are less common than they used to be in many workplaces. People are asked to invest and manage risk on their own. Market swings can change how secure you feel from year to year, and costs that hit later in life can be scary. Housing, healthcare, long-term care, helping adult kids, and just the fact that many things cost more than people expected. The luxury here isn't being rich. It's being able to stop working without fear. It's being able to say, I've done enough, I'm okay. For a lot of middle-class families, the challenge is that they don't have extra money lying around. They're trying to save in the leftover space after everything else. And if your monthly budget is already tight, it's hard to consistently build a future cushion. So what helps? Make it automatic if you can. Even small amounts matter because the habit matters. Avoid lifestyle inflation when you get a raise, at least partly. Pay attention to fees in your accounts because fees are one of the few things you can control. Build your skills and earning power over time because income is a retirement strategy too. And treat no consumer debt as part of retirement planning, because a future without payments is worth more than a future with a bigger screen and a bigger car today. Again, the real luxury is freedom. Number 4 is outsourcing your life. The time-saving services that used to be occasional treats are now priced like premium products. Think cleaning services, meal kits, prepared food subscriptions, laundry pickup, home organization, even basic home repairs. The reason these feel like luxury now is simple. Labor is expensive, and it should be. People deserve to be paid, but the way these services are sold also matters. Many are packaged as subscriptions. Many add fees. Many use starting at pricing that doesn't match what most people actually pay. Some rely on tips. Some charge extra for basic things that you assumed were included. And there's another layer. These services are often marketed as self-care. They're framed like you're failing if you don't buy them. That's a powerful message when people are exhausted. The truth is that time is a resource, and convenience has a price. The middle class used to have more wiggle room to buy convenience now and then. Now many people don't, so you have to choose where you want your convenience. Maybe you pay for occasional cleaning because it protects your weekends. Maybe you skip food delivery and cook simple meals because the fees are too much. Maybe you batch errands to save time without paying extra. The key is to be intentional. Convenience spending can be smart if it protects your health, your relationships, or your ability to work. But if it's just filling a moment of stress, it can quietly drain your money without fixing the real problem. Number 3 is grocery shopping that feels like you're getting real value. Not just food, but quality food that makes you feel good. For a lot of middle-class families, buying better ingredients used to be a reasonable luxury. Fresh produce, good coffee, decent snacks, higher quality meat, nicer cheese, maybe organic items sometimes. Now, it can feel like you're choosing between health and budget. One reason is that prices went up, but also because products changed. Packages got smaller, ingredients got cheaper. Family size became a joke. You're paying more and getting less, and it's hard to notice because it happens slowly. Another reason is the way stores steer you. End caps, limited time flavors, premium versions of basics, bundles that look like deals but aren't always. And now there are subscriptions for grocery delivery and member pricing that can make you feel punished for not joining. Food is also emotional. When you're stressed, a small treat in the cart feels like relief. Companies know this. They build whole sections of the store around impulse comfort. So what do you do without becoming miserable? You simplify. Pick a few quality items you truly care about and protect those. Maybe it's good coffee. Maybe it's fruit for your kids. Maybe it's better bread. Then go cheaper on the rest without shame. Learn a few flexible meals that stretch ingredients. Watch unit prices when you can. And don't fall for the idea that you need a cart full of premium items to be doing life right. The middle class isn't struggling because it forgot how to shop. It's struggling because the value has changed. Number 2 is the big celebration that feels joyful instead of financially scary. Weddings, milestone birthdays, graduation parties, baby celebrations, family reunions. These used to be big moments where the middle class could host something nice without taking on long-term debt. Now celebrations can feel like a pressure cooker of expectations and markups. Venues cost more. Catering costs more. Photography and video are expensive and for good reason, but it still adds up. Decorations, outfits, hair and makeup, music, rentals, invitations, favors, and all the little details pushed by social media can make it feel like you need a production, not a party. And one of the biggest drivers is comparison. People don't just want a good time. They want proof of a good time. That turns celebrations into content. Content has a style, and that style costs money. The hardest part is that these are emotional events. You only do them once, or at least you want to do them right. So people overspend out of love and fear of regret. Here's the controversy. A lot of the must-haves are not actually for the couple or the family. They're for the audience, they're for the photos, they're for the imagined judgment. If you want to protect joy, you have to protect priorities. Spend on what people will feel, not what they will scroll past. Good food, comfortable space, good music, and real connection beat expensive details. Be honest about guest count. Say no to vendors that pressure you. And remember that a celebration is supposed to celebrate, not start a financial headache that lasts for years. Now we're at number 1, and it's the biggest luxury of all for the middle class today: breathing room. The kind of breathing room where a small emergency doesn't become a crisis, where you can say no to a bad deal, where you can walk away from a subscription you don't need. where you can fix something without putting it on a credit card and hoping later works out. This is the luxury that makes all the other luxuries possible, and it's the one most people are losing. When every month is packed with payments, it doesn't matter how disciplined you are. You feel trapped. And modern life is full of systems that love when you're trapped. Subscriptions love when you forget to cancel. Financing loves when you focus on the monthly payment instead of the total cost. Fees love when you're in a rush. Tips on a screen love when you feel awkward. The whole economy has moved toward small charges forever, because small charges are easier to say yes to than big prices. Breathing room breaks that spell. It turns you from a reactive buyer into a calm chooser. And no, breathing room doesn't mean you're rich. It means you have margin. Even a small margin changes how you think. You stop making fear-based decisions. You stop taking every offer. You stop trading your future for a moment of relief. The middle class used to have more of this margin built in. Now it often has to be rebuilt on purpose, which is harder, but not impossible. The way you build it is boring and powerful. Fewer monthly commitments, fewer impulse upgrades, more cash buffer, and spending choices that match your actual values instead of your stress. So here's what this countdown really showed. The luxury isn't always the thing itself. It's the ability to enjoy it without being punished by hidden fees, stacked subscriptions, and payment plans that never end. The world didn't just get more expensive. It also got better at charging you in pieces so you don't notice until it's too late. If you remember one idea, let it be this: protect your margin, protect your ability to choose. That's what lets you still have joy without regret. If you made it to the end, I want you to comment one thing. Which of these 15 feels the most unfair to you right now? And what do you think changed the most? The prices, the fees, or the pressure to upgrade? Share this with someone who keeps saying, "Why does everything feel so expensive?" Because I promise they're not imagining it.